Morning, good morning. Yes, we record our services and put them on YouTube, so thank you, Sally, for doing that. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Staten Island for our online service this morning. We welcome you from the comfort of your homes, from wherever you are, and however you are feeling this morning. I hope you find a way to get comfortable in your own body, to rest and relax and enter into this time of community and connection. I'm the Reverend Emily DeTar Birt, pronouns she, her, hers, and I'm speaking live from my apartment here in Marble Hill, Manhattan. Grateful to be with all of you this morning. We have a special set of visitors this morning. We are so grateful for the visitors from the First Church of Jamaica Plains, Massachusetts. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are delighted to have you. Friends from First Church in Jamaica Plain, you are more than welcome, and we hope that you stay for our coffee hour after service. However, you also have set up from your church your own First Church Zoom account coffee hour. We'll post the link in the chat at the end of service, and you can decide to stay with us or go onto the First Church Zoom. However you want to connect, we are so grateful to have you with us this morning. I now open our service with words attributed to Thich Nhat Hanh. Be yourself. Life is as precious as it is. All the elements of your happiness are already here. There is no need to run, strive, search, or struggle. Just be. I now invite our Worship Guild associate, Sarah Rachel Walters, to light our chalice this morning.
In the search for truth and the spirit of love, we unite in worship and fellowship.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And as has been our tradition since last May, as an extension of our chalice lighting, I want to take a moment of silence to light these candles for some of the names of those who've been recently affected by police brutality. We cannot cover all of the names of those who've been affected. We light a candle for the life of Ashton Pike, for the life of Micaiah Bryant, for the life of Andrew Brown Jr. May these lights be a symbol of our commitment to continue the work of racial justice and to proclaim everywhere that Black lives matter. I now invite you to sing with us our opening hymn, Gather the Spirit, hymn number 347. You'll find the lyrics on your screen, and our wonderful choir director and music director, Kevin and Carolyn Clark, will sing for us. Thank you. Please stay muted so you can sing along.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience recline, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in praise, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in praise, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
This morning, we have two versions of this reading for you that I'm so grateful to share. We are sharing Juan Felipe Herrera's poem, Let Us Gather in a Flourishing Way. The first, we will share his original poem in his words with his own reading of this beautiful poem that's both in English and Spanish. And then our Worship Guild associate, Sarah Rachel, will read the English translation. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this beautiful poem.
Let us gather in a flourishing way. Let us gather in a flourishing way, with sun luz grains abriendo los cantos que cargamos cada día, en el young pasto nuestro cuerpo, para regalar y dar perlas feliz, perlas pearls of corn flowing, árboles de vida en las cuatro esquinas. Let us gather in a flourishing way, contentos, llenos de fuerza tu vida, giving nacimientos to fragrant ríos, dulces, frescos, verdes, turquoise, strong, carne de nuestros hijos, hijas, rainbows. Let us gather in a flourishing way. En la luz y en la carne of our heart to toil tranquilos, in fields of blossoms, juntos to stretch los brazos, tranquilos with the rain en la mañana, temprana estrella on our forehead, cielo de calor and wisdom to meet us where we toil, siempre in the garden of our struggle and joy. Let us offer our hearts a saludar our águila rising freedom, a celebrar woven brazos, branches, ramas, piedras, nopales, plumas, piercing, bursting figs, and aguacates, ripe mariposa fields and mares claros of our face, to breathe, todos, en el camino, blessing, seeds to give, to grow, maíz lan, en las manos de nuestro amor.
And now I invite Sarah Rachel Walters to read the full English translation.
Let us gather in a flourishing way, opening with sunlight grain songs we carry every day. I pasture the young body, happy to give and give pearls, pearls. Of corn flowing tree of life at the four corners, let us gather in a flourishing way. happy full of strength to life, giving birth to fragrant rivers, fresh, sweet green turquoise, strong rainbows, flesh of our children. Let us gather in a flourishing way. In the light and in the flesh of our heart to toil, tranquil in fields of blossoms, together to stretch the arms, within the quiet rain in the morning, early on our forehead star, sky of heat and wisdom to meet us, where we toil always. In the garden of our struggle and joy, let us offer our hearts to greet our eagle rising freedom, to celebrate woven arms, branches, cactus stones, feathers bursting, piercing, figs and avocados. Ripe butterfly fields and clear seas of our face, to breathe everyone on the way a blessing, seeds to give to grow cornfields in the hands of our love.
Thank you, Sarah. This whole year has been one marathon of people getting by. And now we are starting to see the signs of reopening. We're getting a call to return and a push to go back to normal. I'm so grateful for the ways we can see each other face to face, can gather, can enjoy each other's presence. And yet also I have this deep yearning for two things. One is for time, to not feel the pressure or rush of just dumping back in, to understand and discern and have the time to figure out what comes next. And second is that I don't want a return to what was, or just to simply move on, or just simply get to the next day. I want to uncover something new, nationally, societally, personally. I want a shift that I don't exactly know how to name. I don't just want to get on with it. I've decided I no longer want to just survive. I want to thrive. But what does that mean? What does thriving actually look like? What does it mean to thrive? I'm going to answer this with two different perspectives. One is from Arianna Huffington's book, Thrive, a Third Metric of Success. And the other is from the poem, Let Us Gather in a Flourishing Way, by Juan Felipe Pereira, we just shared. Arianna Huffington is the founder of Huffington Post. And in the height of Huffington Post getting traction and excitement, around 2013, she one day found herself waking up in a pool of blood, having broken her cheekbone and grazed her eye because she collapsed from exhaustion. She went to doctor after doctor trying to figure out if there was anything wrong with her medically, but all it was simply and purely exhaustion. She had worked 18-hour days. She had money. She was powerful. She was deemed one of the most influential people. But sitting in that doctor's office, trying to figure out why she collapsed, she soon realized these markers of success didn't really feel all that successful. Instead of fame, money, or power, Arianna talked about a third metric, thriving. She created 4 criteria for what it means to thrive: well-being, wisdom, wonder, and giving. She thought that if anyone had all of these, it means that they would thrive. Well-being was the first metric she really focused on. I mean, she collapsed from exhaustion. She asked the question, are we able to really sleep? To rest? Are we able to eat full meals, to feed ourselves? Are we able to prioritize our health? That comes first and foremost. And when we answer these questions, then comes, Do we have the space and time to harness inner wisdom, to leave space for wonder? For myself as a minister, when I saw these, I'm like, ding, ding, this is what we call religious experience, gathering in communities like this. Sometimes it can be called spiritual practice. But however it is, whether you belong to a community like this or not, having time and space to access wonder, joy, and mystery of life. And finally, she talks about being able to give back, to give of oneself, but not in a way that depletes us or obligates us or just gets back into the framework of productivity and work, giving in a way that feels mutual and purposeful. For these, Ariana says, they're markers of thriving. What makes life feel full and vibrant is a space and time for these things. And there are countless ways that we can make these aspects of our lives into our lives as they are right now. Small shifts, like what would it be to give yourself 10 more minutes of sleep? What would it be to give yourself a few minutes each day just to breathe? How would you carve out some of these things in your life? These strategies to thrive. And I appreciate all this wisdom. And yet, as I'm reading this book and as I'm thinking about these metrics, or even the language of metrics, I can't help but think how easy it feels to make these distinctions and cultivate this kind of life for the CEO of Huffington Post, which makes a net worth of $100 million. Yes, she can, and she has drastically changed her life to give herself more time to eat, to rest, to reflect, to exercise, because, well, she has the money and the ability to do so, right? And in all the metrics that she gives, they're all based on the individual and not necessarily on community. So when I think back about this year that I feel like was a year of survival for so many, it kind of cuts across and unveils to us those who may not have the resources to live into these metrics, so to speak, right? I think about so many communities. Here are some examples from this past year and a half. Who did we treat as heroes who were essential workers, who had to show up to work, who were put into unfair labor practices and had to work almost impossible shifts? Who were the people who lost their sense of stability? Who were the people who didn't have the resources they needed to thrive this year? This last year, all of us, it doesn't matter your situation, all of us were affected by this pandemic. It cut across all ties, and yet, in the intersections of marginalized identities of class and income, we can see just how the last year and a half has affected some differently than others. Whereas I'm finding wonderful and beautiful blog posts about moving away from the city into working from home in ways that feel more sustainable, and people who transform their lives to have more exercise or to embrace a passion that they had. I hold that wonderful transformation with the experience of those who were homeless, who didn't have a place to stay this year, or those who were essential workers who had to go ahead and work 2 or 3 jobs just to get by, or those who didn't have any income to drastically transform their lives. It's important for us to see the systems and structures that put in our heads survival of the fittest, taking care of ourselves individually, that continue to perpetuate a culture of survival. We live in a world that makes it seem like we're all on our own. Like we just have to get through another day. We just have to get by. We don't always see the ways we are interconnected, all the ways that we need one another, and the layers and systems of societal pressure that compound all that we need to do to get through another day. No matter the pressures of our economy, of our healthcare system, of the injustices we see, I refuse to believe that this is the only way we need to live. I refuse to believe that only some who are well off enough, who have enough money, are the ones who get to have the time or space or room for wisdom, for well-being, for connection and community, for the fullness of being human. I know that another way is possible because we heard about it from Juan Felipe Herrera. The vision and the beauty of the poem "Let Us Gather in a Flourishing Way" casts a different vision of our world, one that is powerful. In the world of this poem, there's no longer a place where only some have some and only some can make it. It paints a gloriously abundant and rich picture of what it means for all of us to thrive. Hearts giving to hearts, rich blue-green earth, delicious fruits, ripe fruits, rows of cornfields, flowing rivers, delicious foods, songs, different languages weaving together in a beautiful and harmonious way, life-giving community. And this vision is an act of rebellion and a revolution, because they counter the narratives of oppression that only a handful of people can be prosperous and can thrive. This vision, "Let us gather in a flourishing way," rests completely in mutual community. As I think about our Unitarian Universalist principles, this vision is already there. Our acknowledgement of the interdependent web of life, our belief in the inherent and undeniable worth of every person. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that every person is not only worthy of living, but worthy of thriving, worthy to take up all the space and all the time that is needed to grow into beautiful, full selves, worthy of loving and wide dreams, worthy of full bellies and delicious treats, worthy of time to breathe and rest, worthy of vacations and sick days, worthy of healthy bodies, of caring for our limbs, our lungs, and our beating hearts, worthy of more than just enough, worthy of more than enough, of so much love and comfort and kindness and care. I know that this can be possible because I've seen glimpses of this vision in community. I've seen it in the ways here on Staten Island, communities gather together to feed each other, in the marches and protests, in the ways we care for when someone grieves, in the food we offer each other at hospitality. I've seen glimpses of what it means to thrive, to give to each other as if there is plenty to eat. Now, I know that the systems and structures that have made so many weary, that have annihilated and restrained to ways of simple survival for so many marginalized communities and intersecting realities, these aren't disappearing overnight. I can't magically wish them away, and I don't have answers for how to dismantle an economy that puts profit over people. I don't know how to undo centuries of white supremacy and heteropatriarchy. But I do know that if we are to change the world we inhabit to one where everyone thrives, we need a vision of more than what our society has told us around success, around living. We need to paint a picture of what it really means to flourish, like we see in the poem. So I'm going to do something a little different today, and I'm going to invite you to envision with me. I'm going to invite you all into a moment of a guided meditation to awake our creativity and imagination today. So I invite you to get comfortable in your seat, to relax, and when you're ready, to close your eyes. I invite you to close your eyes and get centered in your space. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. I want you to imagine for yourself that you are somewhere comfortable and relaxing, that you're in a place that feels like home. What does the room smell like? What does comfort feel like? Now I want you to imagine if you had the time to rest, to really rest, to put down all of the worries and distractions and just rest and breathe. What would you do if you had all the time to rest? Now I invite you to imagine, what if you never had to worry about money or a place to live? If you never had to worry about the bills again? If you always knew you had enough to get by? Who would you be with? What would you do? Now I invite you to think of the community beyond the walls of your home, the neighborhood you live in, the people you see on the streets, your friends, your communities. What if you knew your neighborhood and everyone in it always had enough money, enough resources, time, and support to live their full and rich lives? What would that feel like? What would the energy or atmosphere of the community feel like? How might you participate in the community differently? As you continue to see this vision of a full, rich life, I want you to take a snapshot in your mind, a picture, to keep that vision with you as I invite you to come back when you're ready and open your eyes. Thank you for joining me on that imagining. Our imaginations are so crucial so that we can harness the truths that we might not always feel as we live in this life, as we get by day to day. We know that communities where we flourish are possible because we've seen communities that help each other thrive. We've seen places where we can celebrate birth and joy, where we can give each other food, where we can help people so they don't have to worry about their next fill. I have memories of my mother and grandmother asking me to eat to my fill, to the laughter shared at tables. I've witnessed justice. I know it is possible to flourish. What does it take to thrive? Community and vision. Relationships that remind us of the essential truth. When it comes to living, we are not alone. We need each other to thrive. We need each other to laugh, to love, to eat, to give, to share in a way that says we do have abundance. We are not limited. I'm not taking from you and you're not taking from me. We're sharing in a mutual, beautiful way. To thrive is to call forward the truth that we can invite everyone to the table with generosity and gratitude, to give to each other back tenfold that which we receive, that it's okay to simply be, that we can love and be loved and dream of all we can do together. May we together keep nourishing our communities, keep nurturing and nourishing those who are around us, our families, our neighborhoods, our friends, and hold true to the visions of our imagination of what a life of thriving can look like, so that maybe in time, slowly but surely, we can destroy the structures that try to say we're isolated and alone and we have to survive and just take care of ourselves, that we can destroy the illusion of our separateness, that we can breathe and be and know that there is so much more time and space and love that we can build for each other, if only we dare to dream it. May it be so, and amen. Now is a time in our service for our offertory. Talking about abundance and giving and community, we know it is the mutual giving and generous gifts of our community that makes us thrive. It's what makes us as a community keep going with each other. So as you feel called or if you're able to, we invite you to give to our community. I'm going to actually take this moment to make a few announcements because I keep forgetting. It's important to announce we have an annual meeting next week. Sunday, June 6th, we have an annual meeting where we're going to talk about what it means to be in community together, to decide a vision for our future and make some pretty important decisions. So we hope you come. That'll be after service at 12:30 next Sunday, June 6th on Zoom. I hope that you give as generously as you can and that you continue to feel connected to our community. I now will share this beautiful offertory that was given by Reverend Dan Schatz. It's his own music that he created this song called Leave Time. Please enjoy.
Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. Come sit by my side and share a story, one of a love too deep to find, one of a sailor wending homeward, one of the echo of your mind. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. After the hurry comes the harbor. After the journey comes the rest. Great rushing for the rushing of waters, through fields lined with burrows, banks and nests. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. May all your travels bring you comfort. May all your loving give you some. May all your learnings leave you open. May all your rambles lead you home. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. Time for the quiet of the way.
A beautiful song by Dan Schatz. And now we invite you to sing along with us in our closing hymn, just as long as I have breath. Just as long as I have breath. Number 6, and Kevin and Carolyn Clark will sing with us. Please stay muted so you can sing along. One moment while I get the slides up. Thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Just If they ask what I did, well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did, well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
I now invite Sarah Rachel Walters to extinguish our chalice this morning.
Do that again. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment, for these we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I end our service with words I have adapted slightly by John C. Morgan. We are here that we might have life and have it more abundantly, so that we may share it with others. As we leave this place, let us be joined together as a generous people to build a world of love. May it be so, and amen.